So this month marks the first time Boruto is going to not only use his karma, but go into battle with it activated since I think around chapter 78 of part 1. So you all can see why this is a big deal for fans like me and you. But besides Boruto going face to face with Mamushi, there's also a lot of other things going on that I think deserve some recognition as well. So before we hop into it, be sure to drop a like and hype the video so it gets pushed further into the YouTube algorithm. But anyway, let's get it. So I'm not gonna lie, this chapter is going to be action-packed from start to finish. I'm gonna tell you that right now. There's so many things happening all at once. This arc is legit going to be one for the books, but I think I'll start with the fight we all know is going to happen, and that is Boruto versus Mamushi. Now, this is not only the best fight we'll probably see next chapter, it's also the first encounter we're gonna see. Since chapter 28 ended with him literally activating his karma, I'm gonna guess he's gonna try to do his job and dispose of the clones that are in his vicinity. The amount of power that Boruto has access to is nothing like we ever seen before, because Momoshiki has granted Boruto extraordinary power. The deal they did back in chapter 25 made this possible. Momoshiki wants something that Boruto is offering him, his body, and to get it, Boruto has to defeat the Shinju, which means he's going to give Boruto the necessary power, which I'm guessing is all of his power, to Boruto to ensure he gets the job done. I emphasized this in my last video too. We could possibly see him performing abilities that we have never seen him be able to do, like manifest chakra rods out of thin air, similar to Kawaki, albeit they won't be as fast and potent as Ishiki's, but they could still be useful in certain situations. And while he's also in this state, he technically will be able to use Momoshiki's summonings, more notably the ones he used against Naruto and Sasuke. But I don't know for sure if we'll see it just because Boruto wouldn't want to cause destruction to Konoha. So that would be reserved for situations that calls for it, or when he's fighting in a more open environment. And personally, I'm a little more excited to see this one, the Rasengan, which is basically a regular Rasengan, but it's shrunken down to a minuscule size and can be shot from the fingertips like a bullet. This technique is a variant of the Rasengan, which is Boruto's technique I guess, but it was first introduced when Momoshiki was in control over Boruto's body. So technically it is his technique that he only learned recently, but I suspect Boruto to of course know how to perform it since they are both one body, mind, and soul. So as it pertains to Boruto's side of things, I feel like he got things covered for now. Unless Mamushi is proven to still be stronger than Boruto with the karma active, then we might have a problem not only for him, but for everyone else too. Because there's not a lot of characters stronger than Boruto in base. So if he can't contend even with the karma, the operation might not go as smoothly as you think. So now this brings me to the meat and potatoes of the chapter, what the chapter will mostly consist of. So as we all know, Mamushi has the ability to divide his body up, and each of these clones possesses the same strength and power as the original. I mean, in the words of Koji, they're all the original, so that takes care of that. The only hit he takes is his intelligence and awareness, so it's possible to outsmart him, but not overpower. Now I mentioned there's a plethora of fights we can hope to see in this arc, because that's what it calls for. We're gonna see Sarada in action, Kawaki, along with Delta, etc. But I'm gonna bet the next person to run into a Mamushi clone will probably be Himawari. And the story been telling us that she's gonna have a very prominent role in this arc because of how much Ikimoto has been emphasizing her. In chapter 25, we see her training with Kurama. Apparently they were doing some sort of training for her to get better at controlling her chakra, because you know, that can help her be able to sync with Kurama better. The same thing that Naruto went through. And for the next couple of chapters, we went over how in some timelines, Himawari could in fact die. Kashin Koji even showed it to us so we can see the consequences of Inojin not mastering this jutsu called mind transmission formation, which is being used to orchestrate the entire operation. So if we just exaggerate it for a second, this whole future is panning out because Inojin and everyone else don't want Himawari to die. I guess that is a crazy way to look at it, but whatever, I'm running with it. So because of all this preparation, I'm sure Himawari is going to be faced with a very hostile situation sooner or later. And let me bring up the vision that Koji had back in chapter 23. This vision entailed Himawari confronting a foe. Most of these visions already happened, but this one. And I'm sure we're going to see this pan out very soon. So in this chapter, Ikimoto is going to show us exactly how this future is going to be different now that Inojin has did what he's supposed to and mastered the jutsu that could save Himawari's life. And based off how the jutsu works, I could see how it might come in handy. So let's just get one thing straight. This jutsu relies on Inojin staying out of any type of conflict because he has to maintain extreme concentration so it can be most effective. Himawari is being used as a receiver in this instance, so Inojin can detect certain vibration frequencies around her. Remember, everything has its own unique frequency. That means he can tell the difference between a friend and a foe. And this is supposed to help Himawari along with everyone else to pinpoint each Mamushi clone so they know whenever they are near one, whenever one is closing in on them, or to avoid being caught off guard in the battle. And the communication part of the jutsu is also very essential. I would argue this is the most important aspect because it allows a way for everyone to know what's going on in each battlefield. Also, the status of everyone's health. So if Himawari is in peril, or if she's greatly outnumbered, that information can be portrayed among multiple people at the same time, and then backup could be supplied if needed. So because of how crucial Inojin mastering this jutsu was, and also how it works, we can kinda see how Himawari could have been killed in another future. And it's a very simple concept to grasp. She could have been easily caught off guard by one of the Mamushi clones. Since they can divide, it makes surprise attacks more likely. And judging off how Boruto's initial fight with Mamushi went, he's going to try this against anyone he gets a chance to. So this is something you have to look out for. Due to Himawari's inexperience as a fighter, it makes her more susceptible to these kinds of attacks. Like, yes, she's strong because of Kurama's power, but battle strength doesn't equate to battle IQ, which you would have to exploit if you were fighting someone like Himawari. In another future, Inojin didn't have access to this power, so he can't tell her on-the-fly information that could save her life. Like if a clone was sneaking up on her blind side. Off-guard attacks, whether if it was in combat or not, can negate all types of durability. We've seen it thousands of times, even in other manga. One character beat another character that is stronger than them because they were simply caught off guard. Jiraiya vs Pain goes extremely different if the Asura path didn't catch him off guard and literally sever his arm. At this moment, the fight didn't matter. Jiraiya was going to die because his body was damaged too greatly. So for those who think Himawari could possibly overwhelm Mamushi with her Nine-Tails chakra, a situation could present itself like her being caught off guard, and maybe Mamushi deals a fatal blow. So with everything we know, I think it's pretty apparent we see Himawari and the rest of Team 10, probably somewhere in the middle of the chapter, or in between Boruto's fight with Mamushi. Now if it comes to this, if it comes to a point where Himawari and the rest of Team 10 needs help, this is how they're gonna counter it. Because with too many clones, it could get bad. But before the mission started, Shikamaru assigned roles to each of the characters. Pretty much everyone is going to stay stagnant. Team 10 will stay in Sector D East. So minus Inojin, that's Shikadai, Chocho, and Himawari as the substitute. Then Team 7 will stay in Sector B North, which consists of Sarada, Konohamaru, and I guess Mitsuki when he stops being interrogated. The only characters that's going to be moving around between sectors is going to be Boruto and Kawaki. Boruto's job is to travel to each spot using the flying Raijin, but Kawaki's job is to provide support as needed. It sounds like two of the same roles, but they are different in their own way. They're both support roles, yes, but Kawaki will do more constant moving than Boruto. I feel as though Shikamaru may want Boruto to neutralize the situation before moving on to the next. Kawaki's support is more spontaneous, meaning he'll assist those who need help with special tasks, and these might be tasks that only he can handle. Maybe he needs to help limit Mamushi's movement. He has the ability to shrink the claw marks, so that's a hard counter to this ability, which will definitely come in handy when facing Mamushi, who can do both clone himself and use the claw marks to teleport instantly to different locations on the battlefield. We already know that Boruto using FTG to traverse larger distances is hard for him to do, since he needs to concentrate more to key in on where he needs to go. And it's even harder for him to do this in the heat of battle. So against Jura, that's why he needed Kawaki as a distraction so he can do it. So it's probably better he doesn't try to keep teleporting to each location all willy-nilly. This is why I think this role might fit Kawaki a bit better than not. And I say this to go back and mention Himawari. The fact that Kawaki is getting put in a support role is a big reason why Himawari might be saved in his future. Because if there was a scenario where she along with Team 10 needed immediate assistance, then Kawaki would be the one to first respond to that cry for help. And if I'm right, I think Delta is also tagging along with him. Since Ada was telling her to look after Kawaki, even if it was before he got his crazy power buff, the fact that it's Ada means that she'll honor this request because Delta is heavily affected by omnipotence. I'm only saying that because me personally, I want to see Delta finally fight. I mean, it's been even longer than anyone since we've seen her in a fight. That needs to be done ASAP. But I'm slightly more excited to see Kawaki because if he got another power buff like he asked for, then he's about to unleash unheard of amounts of power. But there's always a drawback. Like Amato said, his body might not be able to handle the power he has now. So it could lead to his body eventually breaking down or overheating, which we've seen from him before. So this is a very important chapter for Kawaki. There's a lot of question marks that surround this new power he got. In fact, the fact that his body can break down in the middle of this battle could leave him quite vulnerable for a blow from Mamushi. And with Kawaki's overall durability in the mud, since this buff essentially takes from his defense to use towards his offense, this could lead to some serious damage if Kawaki gets hurt too bad. Like I said, fate is always undefeated. If it deems that something is going to happen, it's gonna happen. The fact that they put all this effort into Himawari surviving, it could end up killing somebody else in the process, and that someone else could end up being Kawaki. Now, of course, Kawaki isn't actually going to die, but his death could be teased by the end of the chapter, more so as a consequence for him being too power hungry and demanding. So overall, I think the chapter is mainly going to be action packed, most of which is going to be featured will probably be Boruto, Kawaki, and Himawari. I don't think it's time for a Damon showdown quite yet, only because he's supposed to be the last line of defense. So it's very important they save that event for a finale or near the end to really increase the value of this arc. It's not that I don't think it's possible that Sarada or someone gets into something, I'm just really adamant on the story revealing Himawari's role in this. I feel like Ikimoto got a surprise for us that he wants to show, something surrounding Himawari. So this next chapter, I think it just makes sense that he shows us this reason and the results of her training. So I guess that's it for this video. Apparently last chapter I was wrong about the chapter cover. I was pretty sure it was going to be Mamushi, but it ended up being Sumire again. So I don't know when Mamushi will get a cover, because I feel as if Boruto deserves it now. He just activated his karma, so he's pretty much a lock for next chapter. Or maybe Mamushi gets the cover for this chapter and Boruto gets the next one? I really don't know. But hey, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Is it going to be Mamushi or Boruto for this month's chapter cover? And also, let me know what you guys think will end up happening too. Give me all your predictions down below in the comment section, and if I see any really good ones, I might feature it in this month's hot takes video dropping later this week. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications so you don't miss another video like this, or when I go live for chapter spoilers. And until my next one, I'll see you boys and girls later, and I'm out. Peace.